Good afternoon. Welcome to the 12th Annual Air Quality and Health Workshop held in Vancouver, BC, put on by the British Columbia Lung Association. I'm Veda Peters. I'm staff with BC Lung Association, and with me I have Dr. Adam Cohen from University of California, Berkeley. We're going to chat a little bit about the future of driving, which all of us want to do, right?
Yep.
Okay. So are there current trends in driving and cycling that you see changing?
Well, one of the interesting trends that we see going on right now is the growth of, the millennial population into the workforce. So these are the people, born between 1981 and 2000 that are entering in the workforce in full force. And so they have different characteristics that are shaping their mobility. One of these things is that cost, convenience, and exercise are very important to them, as well as multitasking. So the idea of staying connected on their smartphones, being able to either work, socialize, email, so on and so forth, and that's really impacting their transportation choices. Driving is from point A to point B. It's no longer about getting from point A to point B, but it's everything, it's the time as well. So we see more people wanting to multitask on their commute trips.
And texting while you drive is really not a good idea.
That's definitely not a good idea.
So more people are into car sharing, taking public transportation.
Correct. So what we've seen in recent years is growth of shared mobility within the sharing economy. So shared mobility is sharing a motor vehicle, bicycle, or low-speed mode that enables users to gain short-term access to those modes without, on an as-needed basis, without the costs or responsibilities of ownership.
Not a bad idea. How does that have an overall impact on our air quality and therefore health?
Well, to kind of give you an example is we've seen a real growth in these services. So, for example, car sharing has grown to 1.3 million members in the U.S., close to 300,000 members in Canada as of July of 2014. And we see, we did a survey in 2008 that found that car sharing removed between 9 to 13 vehicles off the road, including postponed vehicle purchases. 4 to 6 vehicles were sold due to car sharing, and 25% sold a vehicle, 25% postponed a vehicle purchase. And we see reductions in vehicle miles, vehicle kilometers traveled, as well as CO2 reductions. To give you kind of an idea, net CO2 reductions were 27% and 0.58 to 0.84 metric tons of greenhouse gas emission reduction per household per year, depending on if it was the observed or full impact.
That's really significant.
It's really quite significant, yes.
And I bet most people are totally unaware of that.
Yes.
It's amazing. That's why I come to these workshops. It keeps me informed. So if people want to stay connected, they can't text while they drive, what role do you see the smartphone having on transportation?
Well, it's interesting you say that because we're seeing kind of the growth of a number of different services, both now and kind of looking forward to the future. So right now we see the growth of transportation network companies or ride sourcing. These are terms that are a little bit more common in the U.S., but they're gaining prevalence. And basically, these are app-based services that people can download to basically find an on-demand for-hire driver, similar to a taxi cab. So these are kind of the latest services that are out there. These are like Uber and Lyft and things of that nature.
Less cost than cab fare or about the same?
There have been varying reports as to different costs between them. I think they're fairly comparable.
But a really good idea for people who go out, socialize, maybe are overserved.
Well, absolutely.
And want to get home.
Absolutely. It's great in places that don't have great access to taxi cabs. And what's interesting is we see the taxis starting to evolve and model their services as well. We see a lot of places coming out with their own apps. In fact, in Los Angeles, they're mandating that taxi cabs have a smartphone app.
Cool. Be a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to have enough taxi cabs to meet the demand.
Yeah.
It also proves a challenge sometimes.
Yeah.
But it seems that this would be a really good idea for the smaller community where a cab company might not do very well. But
it's interesting you say that because when you go to these services on their websites, that's actually where they've done really well, is in smaller communities. communities, between 100,000 to 300,000 that have very limited public transit or taxi service.
Wow. I find this just fascinating. I don't have a smartphone, so
Oh.
all of this is not relatively, it's totally new to me. But it is fascinating that that's the way things are probably going to go in the future, and I'm going to be forced to buy a smartphone. So I thank you very much for your comments, for your time, and participation in the workshop.
Thank you. I appreciate it.